Joe Rogan recently shared details about who Jeffrey Epstein was allegedly sending disturbing videos to, and he also mentioned many of the well-known figures who visited his private island. According to these claims, over 305 names appeared in the Epstein records. These individuals reportedly include powerful figures from the entertainment world, politics, the British royal family, and some of the wealthiest billionaires globally. Although Epstein is no longer alive, there are concerns that his connections and influence may still be operating behind the scenes.
You might want to.
It's so tangled. The whole thing is just, I think everybody who looks at it realizes this is a rabbit hole that just goes to the center of the earth. And there's so many people involved in that. Here's the big question that people ask. If there was a Jeffrey Epstein, and it seems like all these things he was involved in, is there a Jeffrey Epstein right now that we don't know about?
There's a million of them.
A million.
The first person Joe Rogan mentioned was Bill Gates. This came up even before Gates publicly acknowledged that he had allegedly flown on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, often called the Lolita Express, and had contacted him in the past. Some reports online claim that Gates's name appears in the Epstein records more than 130 times, and that they may have stayed in touch even after Epstein's arrest. In one reported email, Epstein claimed he had helped Gates obtain certain substances to deal with issues linked to encounters with Russian women, and also said he arranged meetings for him with married women. In another message, Epstein reportedly criticized Gates for cutting ties and ignoring the relationship they had built over 6 years, accusing him of distancing himself to protect his public image.
About the Epstein releases, before we got started, first of all,
the photo dump and the emails, it's fucking nuts.
But it's also they're doing it so slowly.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have had this stuff for a year.
We were promised multiple times, it's coming.
Doesn't it seem like you could just throw all that into AI at this stage of the game?
Yes.
And just redact the names of the victims and let's go?
Yeah, of course.
It seems like that would take 5 minutes.
I mean, it feels like, you can't help but feel like the administration is just watching their back, and that's why it's happened.
Watching someone's back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all speculative why they haven't released it, but it's not good. It's not good for everybody's confidence.
No.
It's not good that this thing was going on, that they had this bizarre blackmail operation running. That's very weird.
Very strange.
Very weird. But it kind of makes sense. Because if you're a 60-year-old billionaire and you're a freak and you like to get your freak on, but unfortunately you're a gigantic software developer and everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
It's hard to get your freak on.
Well, that's the thing is it makes sense when you go some of these dudes really liked visiting that place.
Yeah.
It's that's the only place they can go.
Right.
You can't go anywhere else.
Right. And that's why they set it up for them.
The truth about what was happening on Epstein's island appears far more disturbing than most people imagine. The island sat isolated in the ocean and could only be reached by boat or private plane, making it extremely difficult to leave. It has been claimed that many of the staff were aware of the abuse but chose to stay silent. According to one account, the situation became so unbearable that a victim attempted to escape by swimming away, saying she would rather risk drowning in the open sea than remain there.
Epstein's business dealings. Virgin Islands prosecutors say Epstein coerced girls as young as 12 into sexual activity. One victim said she was trapped on the island. I tried to escape Epstein and the others by trying to swim off after spending the day being... Epstein's home decor even showed signs of his crimes.
There were bunk beds. And I said to him, oh my God, are you expecting grandchildren? And he said, no, these are for the girls.
Joe Rogan spoke about one of the most disturbing claims linked to Jeffrey Epstein. According to these reports, there are allegations that Epstein used sulfuric acid to destroy evidence. People who support these claims also believe that bodies may have been hidden on his island and at his Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. The ranch is said to be under investigation, with searches being conducted to find possible burial sites. What many find shocking is the claim that, despite reports of serious crimes, Epstein's properties were not thoroughly searched for a long time.
This is the one that I hate the most.
Yeah.
Because this one scares the shit out of me. Because the fear of, we talked about this yesterday with Roger Avery, the fear of these literally demonic human beings that are running the world and don't give a fuck about human lives and enjoy watching people being tortured, enjoy watching people killed, participating in ritual sacrifice of people, and they do it in order to show that you're a part of a team and we know that has always historically been a real thing, and it's been something that you look at in history. You go, God, it's so sick, it's so twisted, it's so disgusting, and everybody wants to think, thank God that's not happening now. But then when you realize, like, that might have been happening now. Here's one of the craziest ones. The day he was indicted in 2018, the very next day he ordered 330 gallons of sulfuric acid.
What?
Yes. He ordered 6 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid to be delivered to the island.
So what kind of evidence was Jeffrey Epstein allegedly trying to destroy with acid? Some reports suggest it was linked to claims of torture. Joe Rogan has talked about this topic several times. There are said to be hundreds of emails that hint at Epstein sending videos of this alleged abuse to certain individuals and inviting them to his island to take part. According to these claims, once victims arrived on the island, their passports were taken from them. Their daily lives were then tightly controlled, including what they could wear and even what they were allowed to eat.
If you do have, for lack of better words, let's call it a service, where you allow rich people from foreign governments or whatever, you set it up. I can give you whatever you want.
Right.
Like, what I want to do is I want to kill a hooker. Like, I want to kill her, I want to torture her, and I want to, get rid of the body. Like, I want to do that. Like, can you do that? There was one where this one guy is saying to him, "Thank you for the torture video." It's literally a part of an email. The actual quote, "Thank you for the torture," like, enjoyed the torture video.
It's so gross. Like,
And they think they've identified that guy. And what do they think? He's a sultan?
I was trying to find that right now. I think because Massey said he got the, he looked that one up, I believe. Because it's weird. They're letting them into the files one by one for like an hour at a time.
what?
Yeah,
bro,
Like
there's
the Congress people can go look at specific. There's
Right.
millions of files. You got to tell them which file you want specifically to look at.
It's crazy. The whole thing is crazy because, like, why have you protected people? So we know Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem sent the torture video to Epstein. This is in 2009. So Epstein was saying that. Where are you? Are you okay? I love the torture video.
The individual Joe Rogan was referring to here is Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, a 70-year-old businessman and head of the global logistics company DP World. His name was reportedly hidden in earlier documents, but after Ro Khanna pushed the United States Department of Justice to look deeper into the case, it was said to be revealed. This is not the first time Sulayem has been linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Recently, he was also mentioned by 2 U.S. lawmakers, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey, who claimed he was among 6 influential individuals allegedly connected to Epstein.
Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, resigned as CEO of DP World. This is Dubai's largest port operator. Doesn't help when you have this email, June 2013, from Epstein to bin Sulayem. All I know for sure is that you're one of my most trusted friends in every sense of the word. You have never let me down, not once, not half of once, and I greatly appreciate the time we spend together. This was the response. Thank you, my friend. I am off the sample, a fresh 100% female Russian at my yacht. Epstein responds, 100% Russian or 100% female? Question, if it were once a man and now has, and describes women's private parts, what percentage is it? And bin Sulayem responds, 100% female. Yeah, the messages between the two discuss women, girls, sexually explicit content, business dealings for sure, meetings with world leaders, yeah. And then the torture video. Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video. Epstein apparently sent that message in April 2009 to a redacted name, but then you had Representative Thomas Massey, who's been all over.
Here's what many consider the most disturbing part. Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem may have been just one of many individuals allegedly linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Both Joe Rogan and Katt Williams have suggested that Epstein acted as a provider, which they believe explains his connections with some of the most powerful figures around the world. According to these claims, many of these wealthy and influential people already had immense money and authority, and Epstein was seen as someone who enabled them to pursue their hidden and controversial desires.
Everybody is a supplier. Epstein, Weinstein, like, these guys knew what these extremists liked and provided it, and provided the way for you to to have $1 billion and not create a fantasy island type environment has not existed throughout history.
Right. I mean, if I was going to run some global power organization, I would try to co-opt every single leader, try to suck in, offer support, bring them out to wherever the fuck I have my big ass meetings, fly everybody in private jets, talk about the climate crisis.
All organizations have to follow the same rules.
Yeah, that's wild.
Recruitment is an important facet of all.
We have to get some young global leaders.
Well, understand, this is the only reason that we can talk about these big Illuminati-like entities at this period of time. It's just because of time. Like, they aged out. Like, you can't get in new, so everybody got decrepit over there, and they can't exchange, really.
To understand just how far-reaching Jeffrey Epstein's connections were believed to be, consider this example. Howard Lutnick, who is currently serving as U.S. Secretary of Commerce, was reportedly named in newly surfaced Epstein-related documents, along with photos said to show him on Epstein's island. What made this situation more surprising is that these images appeared only a few months after Lutnick had publicly stated in an interview that he had never visited the island. According to these claims, the photos were presented as evidence that contradicted what he had previously said.
Like, is it wild that people who are on the files visited the island and then they still work?
It was unbelievable.
Some people had to resign from some jobs.
Well, especially just him, because the way, there's something about a really confident liar, like where they just, because I mean, that interview clip where he's like, let me tell you something. I met Jeffrey Epstein that one time. He had a massage table. He said they were massage tables. I went right back to my wife and I said, honey, we are never hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein again. And that is that, you know?
Is that really the quote?
Oh, dude.
I haven't seen that.
I don't know if it's verbatim, but that is the exact spirit
we should
of it.
Probably be pretty verbatim.
Oh,
let's listen to it.
Listen to it.
We'll
I'm
find it.
very, very close to exactly what he said.
Okay.
Let me get this one again. What was this one?
Lutnick interview about Epstein. Okay. And he just sounds, I mean, so like morally outraged about the idea.
There's so many people that they exist in that world where you just pretend that you're a different person. You pretend you're one way.
Yeah.
You pretend you think things differently.
And he opens the door, and there's a massage table in the middle of the room. Ooh. And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me. Ooh. And he says, and the right kind of massage. Ooh. Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. Really? So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross. Oh. And so I look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
He gave me a gift.
Yes.
Of a voice. And so, that's my story. A one and absolutely done.
This is a straight-up claim that is being disputed, saying that Howard Lutnick met Jeffrey Epstein multiple times after this, invested millions with him, and even brought his children to Little St. James. An email between them reads, Hi Jeff. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Barthélemy/Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? What is the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I am traveling with another couple, Michael and Marcial Mann, on my boat, and each of us has 4 children, 2 16-year-olds, 2 14-year-olds, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7-year-old. According to one source, U.S. Senator Thomas Massie says he confirmed that Howard Lutnick gave Jeffrey Epstein his personal phone number, with their help coordinating calls between the two. Massey also says records show Lutnick and Epstein were in contact far more than previously acknowledged in some reports.
And a top Justice Department official says the review of the Jeffrey Epstein files is over. The same official indicated there would be no new charges. Now the Trump administration is facing backlash from Epstein survivors and Democrats. This was California Congressman Rogan yesterday.
There is a demand for elite accountability, but the survivors' lawyers that I've talked to have said that the survivors are still upset. They're upset that many of their names accidentally came out without redactions, and they want to make sure the rest of the files come out.
CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us from our Washington bureau with more on this. Scott, you've been sifting through as much of this as you can. What's in this so-called final batch?
It's a process. We're still working through millions of pages here, Errol. And it's worth noting these were released more than 40 days after the legal deadline for the Department of Justice to do so. No one besides Epstein and former associate Ghislaine Maxwell has been charged, but the Department of Justice insisting its work is done has only fueled more controversy.
There are also other names like Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett. Video evidence shows Plaskett was secretly texting Jeffrey Epstein live while being questioned on live TV in 2019. Epstein was telling her what to say and she was following his orders. This is shocking and shows how powerful Epstein really was. He was directing sitting members of Congress around in the Congress today.
I would imagine you would want them too. There's plenty of women politicians you'd want to compromise. I mean, they did get Stacey Plaskett. She was cooperating with Epstein, going back and forth during Trump's administration. So if people wind up going to trial over this and people wind up getting indicted over this, that could get more interesting because then you remove it from Minnesota and then it becomes this federal court thing. And so then it becomes mainstream public news if they do this correctly. But if there is something there.
Jeffrey Epstein was texting with congressional delegate Stacey Plaskett while she was sitting in a congressional hearing with President Trump's former lawyer Michael Cohen in 2019.
Did they reach out to you to talk with you about these payments?
No, ma'am.
And documents recently released by the House Oversight Committee now show that Plaskett, a delegate of the Virgin Islands, and Epstein, a resident of the Virgin Islands, were coordinating in real time Plaskett's questioning of Trump's former fixer during the hearing. At 2:24 p.m., Epstein texts, Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets. Plaskett responds, Rona? Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? Epstein replies, that's his assistant. About 7 minutes later, Plaskett asked Cohen about Trump's assistant.
Is Miss Rona, what is Miss Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
Though her name was redacted in the documents, the Washington Post first reported that the timestamps line up with Plaskett's questioning in the hearing. Plaskett, who was a non-voting delegate, faced a vote to censure her after the text came to light, but it ultimately failed. Plaskett has defended her text with Epstein, saying that she took texts and calls from many of her constituents.
I've been a prosecutor for many years. I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth. Having a friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have.
Elon Musk's name often comes up when Jeffrey Epstein is discussed. But one billionaire who stayed in the shadows is Les Wexner. Les Wexner, billionaire, founder of Victoria's Secret brand. Les Wexner had a decade-long relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, giving him power of attorney over finances starting mid-1980s, reportedly confirmed later. Jeffrey Epstein gained broad control, attending Les Wexner events and using the link to boost his status, including posing as a Victoria's Secret scout allegedly. Records from the latest release show Jeffrey Epstein allegedly used this position to source women. During a recent deposition, Les Wexner confirmed Jeffrey Epstein worked for the Rothschild family allegedly network. The next minute, his lawyer leaned in and threatened him to stay quiet.
I'd done personal work for the Rothschild family in France. Well, specifically, I talked to Ellie de Rothschild, and so I mentioned that earlier. So he represented their whole family, so there had been a whole bunch of people. Most of them I never would have met, but I knew Ellie. He would say, like, I'm providing financial advice to the founders of Google. I'm providing financial advice to Jeff Bezos.
Answer the question.
Epstein's network also included well-known celebrities from entertainment industry, too. One such celebrity was included Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's name first emerged in connection with Epstein many years ago. Photos of Chris Tucker and President Bill Clinton on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane were leaked by a victim. These photos showed Chris Tucker on the Lolita Express surrounded by women.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different. That was a humanitarian trip to Africa, and I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation, and I met him, and you don't know people what they do in their private lives, so yeah.
But tell me this, Chris. You was on this private plane, and you could tell that it was a private plane because they called it, was it Lolita Express?
Oh, yeah, it was a private plane, yes. Oh, yes.
But wait a minute. You didn't never go to that island, did you?
No.
Katt Williams revealed this almost a year before the official release of the Epstein files, stating that Chris Tucker wasn't who he seemed. The true Chris Tucker everyone in the industry respected is long gone now.
The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey.
Oh, Lord.
Whew. If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest. I don't care what you say. To be confident and not delusional is a real skill. Most of these confident people we see is really delusional in order for the type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing. See, what I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you will be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
Wow.
I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses,
but think about what you just think about what you just said. That's extremely thoughtful and powerful.
According to Katt Williams, the entertainment industry allegedly uses high-value contracts along with threats of reputation damage to keep control over major stars. He claims that people who do not follow certain hidden expectations of powerful groups can end up being pushed out of big projects or targeted with negative stories that harm their public image. He also points to what he says happened to Dave Chappelle, claiming that a $500 million deal was taken away from him and that he was later publicly labeled as a drug user.
That you say that, but your
we
fans
take it
have
another
a
way.
difference of opinion.
We your fans. We think
I
you cold.
prove my points.
Well, that's why I said your fans have a difference of opinion.
But Dave Chappelle was decapitated in front of us. And until we deal with that, until we deal with the fact that a devout Muslim who doesn't eat bacon was accused of being a crackhead, until we establish the fact that they said that he went to Africa to smoke cocaine when we know they don't have running water and food over there, when they don't have paved roads over there. You saying he flew past Chicago and Miami and LA and New York and Detroit. You saying he went past Cleveland and Fort Pierce, Florida, and he went past Okeechobee and Oakland. You say he went to another country where they're not eating?
Right.
You talking about somebody who has a wife and children, 5 children, and lives on a farm, doesn't live here in Hollywood. You saying you convinced people that person was an insane crackhead? Wow. And he hasn't been on movies and TV for 8 years? Is that correct? Wow. Okay, then don't tell me about what you want to tell me about. I just watched you decapitate the king in front of me. And then act like he's supposed to catch up and be a regular comedian like everybody else. But no.
He didn't go for that.
That's not how it went. He was out there with us for 20 years. They called him Pilot Boy because he had 19 pilots in Hollywood and everybody passed on him and said his show wasn't worth it.
What do you think of
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it,
They said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are gonna say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. And my nigga got on a flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, it was so. And 8 years later, he hasn't been in a movie and or television. Is just now trying to do his real comeback at Radio City Music Hall.
Dave Chappelle has said no in response to those kinds of claims. That decision is often described as what helped him hold onto his personal integrity. While his career did face setbacks as a result, the view is that he chose not to give in to outside pressure or compromise his principles.
The one comedian that we've been sitting here doing this interview that you hold in very high regard is Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million. You said it was more. Tell the story.
That's right.
I'm gonna let you tell it.
No, you're
No, I want you to tell it.
You really are the best. You proving it here today. As much as I'm proving it, you proving it. You proving it. Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't. People say that. He lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Cause P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no.
Joe Rogan also reportedly refused any kind of recruitment attempt. According to the discussion, Jeffrey Epstein noticed how large Rogan's influence was and tried to arrange a meeting with him. In a recent episode, Rogan said that back in 2017 one of his guests, the theoretical physicist Lawrence Krauss, had tried to introduce him to Epstein. This detail is also said to appear in recently released files. In emails between Epstein and Krauss, Epstein allegedly asked for an introduction to Rogan, saying he found him funny and wanted to reach out. Krauss did attempt to make contact, but Rogan showed no interest. Epstein later followed up suggesting that if Rogan wanted, he could even arrange a dinner with Woody Allen. Krauss later replied that Rogan seemed more hesitant than expected, and the introduction did not move forward.
Seems very dark.
Very dark.
Because it seems like it was this bizarre blackmail influence thing that was going on for a long time.
For so long
time.
Through different administrations. That's what's so unbelievable about it.
It's
how
dark.
long it was going on.
Is that more people have an understanding of how things are really working than ever before.
Yeah.
Like this Epstein file thing, right? That was a big eye-opener for a lot of people. When you see how many people after 2008, after he was arrested, after he went to jail, were actively taking money from him. MIT took money from him and tried to hide it and said make sure that any donations from Jeffrey are listed as anonymous. So you find out like people are like, they referred to him as Voldemort, like you couldn't say his name.
Wow.
There was a lot of people that met with him and did business with him and traveled with him after he was arrested, after he went to jail.
Do you spend a lot of time reading them?
No, I try not to. I try to have experts come on. I try to read. You can't change it.
Yeah.
And it'll fuck your head.
Yeah, it's
like
toxic.
You will really get.
It'll stick with your. And I know I've tried not to.
Yeah.
I haven't read it.
So what do you think about all of this? Do these files represent only a small part of a much bigger story, or is most of the truth already out in the open but being overlooked? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you've watched this far, it's clear the situation is more complex than what is usually shown publicly. And if you want to stay updated as more names and details are discussed, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future breakdowns.